It'd be a good when they're gonna talk about kids and crime with Baby K did his work at in their area. But this is all over the United States. It's mostly teenagers. They calling them kids, but we had delinquents when we was young. Hundreds of them. Hundreds of them coming out of the jail so they can make in the pen to make room for these young kids. And these kids don't understand what's in store for them. They might not get out till they 35, 40. You're gonna lose half your adult life. You don't know nothing until you get about 25, living in the world, paying bills, all these other things. That's why I'm making this channel for to dedicate this to you. Hey, talk to somebody older that got a job. You know they got a nothing job or that you consider nothing about paying bills, being responsible. That's what you're gonna have to do in life. You're gonna learn from somebody. You're gonna learn in there. You're gonna learn out here, or you might get killed.
Leslie Foster.
And I'm Lorenzo Hall. You know, it's something we talk about a lot here at 5 o'clock. Kids committing crimes, getting arrested for things like armed robbery, carjacking, and yes, even murder.
And now at 5, we're
This is not a new thing to me, coming from the south side of Chicago and growing up in Southern California. When you start getting 13 and 14, kids start running with their peers, doing delinquent things and colors. It's not a color thing or anything. It's all groups. They follow, some are leaders, some are
We're
followers.
getting a closer look at the problem. We're going to verify the number of children being arrested in our area. Prince George's County's top attorney, Aisha Braveboy, will join us live.
I don't know. I think Prince George County is in D.C. area, if I'm correct. But D.C. was bad in the 80s. D.C. always been hot. Like LA, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia. Let's
To
continue.
answer our questions about the problems in her county, plus what she thinks needs to be done to fix
Yeah,
them.
but before we get to that, we have some brand new details on the teen suspect accused of murder and attempted murder in D.C. and Maryland. This is 15.
Check out my other videos on Baby K. I did that. He young. As my girl Messy Michonne say on her channel, she always say, that hairstyle gonna tell you, your hair growing out, that's a part of, to me, when I came up as a street culture, I had a long perm back when I was young, braids. I'm representing something.
15-year-old Caden Holland. You may have heard us use his nickname, Baby K. He is behind bars right now in Prince George's County.
He was arrested around this time yesterday after almost a month on the run. Authorities
Month on a run. That's some good running, when you're 15, it's harder to run than you an adult, because all the good citizens, the adults, they know it's you. They gonna tell on you. They gonna tell the citizens. Criminals, they ain't gonna tell you. They'll keep you out.
are convinced he had help, and now some people in the county are saying legal reforms to protect suspects under the age of 18 have gone too far.
Our Scott Brim is live in Prince George.
But it's not that many. I don't know when all these legal reforms came up. When I was young, they would start trying kids at 14 as adults. If you did adult things, you can go to the House of Corrections at 16 with some grown men, and you'll learn something. They lock up 16-year-olds in the states where I lived at.
Georges County with the very latest on reactions and what's next for this young suspect. Scott.
As you just reported, now that Baby K is in custody, a lot of the attention is turned to outrage, criticism of the juvenile justice system. Today, the Prince George's County Police Chief Malik Aziz and the county executive Angela Brooks also directed a lot of anger and questions towards parents.
My thing is, the whole time he been on the run, everything, you ain't seen none of his parents, his auntie, his grandmama, nobody on TV saying anything. That ain't my son or nothing. So where are they?
If they are 14, 15, and 16 years old, where are their parents?
Right now, yeah, he was alone. We arrested.
Where are the parents? They ain't showing them. Ain't nobody been to the house and knocked on the door. Usually how they do stories, they'll go to the door. Where's your son at? Oh, do you believe he did it? Ain't nobody going there. Where is he supposed to reside
Him
at?
alone. There was no one else with him right there at that moment.
15-year-old Caden Holland, a.k.a. Baby K, the alleged gunman leading a juvenile hit squad trying to kill a middle school
Juvenile hit squad. Now they calling it a hit squad, which really it was a hit, basically. But it was a dumb way to do it. I mean, they could have just jumped him when he got off the bus. I mean, he on the bus by himself, so somebody told he was on there. Somebody was like, such such gonna be on that bus. You can get him there. He might have been trying. How did the bus driver even let him on?
Schooler on a Prince George's County school bus May 1st as two juvenile accomplices hold the boy down. The gun misfired, saving his life. A 14-year-old girl is accused of setting the crime up in a gang.
And they saying a girl started it. Oh, see, they said a gang. Like I said, when I was young, it was juvenile delinquency. That's the age they started joining, becoming a part. And these days, they see all this stuff on TV. Everybody rapping. He was rapping, talking about who they gonna kill and all that. And everybody just like, oh well, that's what they got to do to make money. I doubt it. You know, there's plenty of things they could be doing. And now look what
Gang
happens.
dispute. And Holland is also now charged with a murder in D.C. just 2 days later. Holland
He rapping. He rapping. And he rapping saying what he do. Like somewhere in the building, to me, from the outside, the way it looked like it could be a project building. Then it got some graffiti on there. I can't see what it say. But he rapping about something. He got a video on YouTube. If he get enough views, he can make money. Now his cred is built up. And the street cred built up because he got a murder and attempt murder. And he accused of pulling a hit. But they gonna slam him. They gonna slam him with some heavy time.
seen in music videos brandishing a gun and rapping about carjacking.
How was it possible for a
Yeah. Who rented that car he got that he's standing on? Where he get the money to get that? He's standing on the car. That's not his car. He got it from somewhere.
child to a
See, they keep stressing on this child thing. He's not a man yet. He's a young growing adult. He'll be an adult. If he 15, 3 years under the law, he considered an adult. He's just young. That's all. To a mama, it is your child, but to the world, he a threat.
attempt to shoot another child and then to be able to be on the run for weeks.
Go ask his mama. Like, I'm pretty sure she probably got a kid. She like, my kid couldn't be missing like that. She'd be worried, going crazy, searching them down. But some parents ain't like that. Their kid is loose. They off the chain. They might tell them something, but they can't control them. They can't follow the kid every day. Kid is on his own. He was eating every day. He was sleeping somewhere.
If we can prove that adults were helping a 15-year-old, then that person should face the consequences also.
Prince George's County Police Chief Malik Aziz saying an investigation into who may have helped Baby K is underway.
See, look, he in all these fancy, flashy cars. Who cars is he in? It's not his car, so it's somebody older than him. It's somebody old enough legal to drive. So it's adult, at least an 18, 17, 18-year-old. Somebody in the street, I'm assuming. I don't know, I'm assuming. But what you think? Use your teenage mind. If you over a certain age, use your teenage mind. Stop thinking like you 40, 50 years old. Yeah, that makes sense to us because like they say, the mind don't develop till you 25. So we thinking in grown up consequences phase. He ain't thinking like that. He the man right now.
Aziz says Holland has a record in Prince George's County, but juvenile protections prevent him from providing details. Aziz and also Brooks complain.
We don't need to see his juvenile record. We know what he just did. He up.
Juvenile justice reforms in Maryland have gone too far.
It has
Maryland. They in Maryland.
become more difficult for police to question young people about anything. Parental consent is not even in play. It is an attorney has to give permission.
Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks today calling for accountability for both the charged teens and the adults in their lives.
I hear it all the time. Program. We can create every program known to man, and it will do very little if the children who commit these acts of violence are not held accountable.
It's the society. If you take a young juvenile, you lock them up. and he get out after 6 months, if he go back again for doing crime, that mean he in the gang. You know what I'm saying? He not deterred by that. Until he hit the adult system, he gonna learn real quick.
Now, also today, the state's attorney here in Prince George's County, Aisha Braveboy, pointed out that all the juveniles in this bus attack case are charged as adults. But of course, it's up to a judge here in Mellon to decide if that prosecution will go forward or be remanded back in the juvenile system. We'll be talking more with the state.
With this case, they're not gonna remand it back to the juvenile. They just not because of the attention. And if they do, everybody gonna be
State's
outraged.
attorney in just a moment on that. In the meantime, Caden Hollins, he's a judge here in Prince George's County tomorrow for the first time. We've confirmed also last night that he is charged as a juvenile in the district with the murder.
Okay, where's mom at? His mom ain't been down there to visit him to the courthouse, nothing. That's the part you talking about where the parents at tonight. She should be on the news somewhere. She got to go visit him. You know, something's
Murder
going on.
of a 22-year-old woman. It was committed while he was on the run from the bus attack just 2 days later. Details of the charges are
Oh, okay, so he was on the run from the bus attack. So that might have been why he killed the girl. Because maybe the brother told on him. And he found out he told, so that was his revenge. But that revenge gonna cost him more than whatever. Because I'm like, what you killing a 13-year-old for? You went too far. You went too far.
under wraps in the district because of juvenile protections there. Reporting live in
Ain't gonna be no gun when you get to that pen. Ain't gonna be no
Prince George's
gun.
County, Scott Broom, WUSA 9.
And everything we do know is just so sickening.
It is.
Scott, thank you. And you know, even though we talk about children committing violent crimes frequently, we do have to put this in perspective. I want to highlight something Chief Aziz said today at that press conference. He acknowledged something we all know. A majority of kids are on the right path.
That the vast
Yeah, it is a majority of the kids are on the right path. But they gotta go outside. They gotta deal with these kids, the bad kids. Not like it's like 10% bad kids, 90% good kids. But the 10% gonna get the more attention because they doing the most wildest stuff you could call it.
majority of our youth are not committing crimes. They're living out their lives in a way that they will become productive citizens. I realize.
But it don't matter. I get you. By the time he 25, he'll be out of prison. They'll say, well, he was a juvenile. Y'all shouldn't have locked him up like that. He was too young, blah, blah, blah. He changed his ways. Let him come on home. But go tell that to the parents of the girl who was slain.
Over 2.5 decades ago that we simply could not arrest our way out of a crime problem. The solution then tilted the quest for justice too far in the other direction, which will simply not provide us with the positive resolution that all of us desire. We need balance, the type of equilibrium that seeks justice for victims, makes the community safe, and provides real resources to young offenders and offenders alike.
Yeah, it is so critical to remember this when we talk about solutions. Those kids who are on the right path, making sure they have the support they need to stay there.
That's really what this is all about, right? The kids are not necessarily responsible for orchestrating all of their lives.
Right.
It's the parents, it's the guardians, it's the people we hope will wrap their arms around them that will hopefully prevent the next child from making this kind of tragedy.
But it doesn't matter when they hit that street. If that street wrapped the arm around them tighter and they fall into whatever the mythology of the streets, they gonna start using that. The code of the street. The code of the street is a myth. That's why he got caught on the bus. Partially because of camera, but I bet you one of those kids that was with him told on him. They told on the girl, because how did they know the girl orchestrated it? You know, they told. But you know, you ain't supposed to snitch in the street to see they in fantasy land. That's what they sell them in the rap. They sell it in the rap. Don't snitch. Don't do this. Don't punk out. Don't snitch. And then the gun. The gun don't really fall in it. It's supposed to be, you ain't supposed to punk out, you ain't supposed to tell, but you ain't supposed to be swinging the thing every time you look up.
Tragic, tragic decision. Of course, right now, leaders across our community are struggling with an uptick in kids committing crime. So we invited one to join us live to talk about it. Aisha Braveboy is the Maryland State's Attorney for Prince George's County. There you are, State's Attorney Braveboy. I know it's been a long day and a lot before you, but thank you for taking the time because we know this is an important topic.
No disrespect to the women or anything out here, but most young boys ain't really looking up to what women telling them to do. They running with other boys or young men. They not listening. They hear what y'all saying, but they ain't not following that. It takes like that officer talking to a grown man to tell them. They don't want to hear that from. They hear it, but it's one in and out the other.
That impacts our entire region. Let's talk a little bit more about the news of the day, the arrest of Caden Baby K Holland in your county. We heard
And for him, he right there in the hall watching this on TV, this regular TV. So he watching. And every time they say Baby K, the other kids in there, that's you, man. They talking about you. Look, you got the whole Prince County on fire. You know what I'm saying?
that press conference. We heard all of the emotion from all of the leaders there. What else can you tell us about this case specifically?
Well, let me say, we are in lockstep. The county executive, the chief, all of the command staff, my office, we have been working together since day one to solve this case and to ensure that each and every person involved is arrested, charged, and faces time.
And look at all that money he got. It could be fake money, or it could be real money. If that's real, where you get all that? Rapping probably. Don't need like the old days. You can get you a YouTube channel like I'm doing, trying to do YouTube too. But you know, I ain't gonna be preaching no negativity. I might review some videos, but that's about it. But let's continue.
Tough and stiff consequences. So far, 4.
He's sitting right there in the hall watching this. He a star. He's a hood star. He a hood star. Now in the joint, some dudes might be waiting on him to see if he could live up to that without that gun. Because that kid he tried to kill belonged to somebody. You know, and he might have some people up in there, so he might get dealt with inside there. The things he ain't thinking about. Because he Baby K. Look, they ain't even really saying his name. Oh, Baby K. Who Lil K? Who Big K?
4 individuals have been arrested. 3 of them have had bond reviews. Those who have had bond reviews have been held without bond. Tomorrow, the last suspect who has been arrested and charged at this time will face a bond review, and we will be there to ask that he remain held without bond.
So we've been talking about,
You know, they got to hold him without bond because they held the other ones without bond, so we already know what's going to happen. We know what's going to
Baby
happen.
K because of his arrest and how this is emblematic of a trend, right? Kids committing crimes, both small, both large. You know the numbers. We've been talking about them. And when we have a broader conversation about this, whether it's on social media or in small groups, you know, everybody seems to be questioning what is fueling this problem. And so the direct
Fueling this problem is, you know, in the old days, older people understand this. You know, in the old days, everything traveled slow. Before we was born, you know, like this say from the Depression time on, from the time when people was doing drive-bys. But if one person got killed, that was a lot of people. You know, 4 or 5 people got killed. That was a lot of people. But these days, the information travels fast. And that's why in the old days, they call it a TV programming because you programming yourself. All that stuff the young people ingesting, they can't filter through it like we could filter through it because we older. They young, they getting all this information. He 15. He born in the 21st century. Computers and phones have been around his whole life. The internet. Who's monitoring what he's watching? Nobody. Because if you go to school, all the kids got phone. They all watching this. They watching YouTube. They watching everything we watching. You could believe that.
question to you is what's fueling it in the county?
Well, there are a lot of different reasons that young people commit crimes, and so I don't want to just say it's one thing. What I can tell you, some overarching themes are that children are not in school. And so we do have a huge truancy problem here, one that my office is going to be taking on along with partners from the Prince George's County school system, our courts, and other leaders. We must resolve this issue of truancy here in Prince George's County. In
What they gonna do with the truancy problem? You know, because by the time I got ninth grade, I was truant all the time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my parents can't take off work and babysit me all day. They could drop me off at the school. I can go out the back door. You know what they gonna do? They ain't gonna know. What the teacher gonna call home? Ain't nobody gonna be there when they call. They gonna be at work. So what you gonna do? Send a letter home? I'll get the mail. But these days they got other ways to find out. But I mean, what is the parent gonna do? With the economy, most parents got to work to keep a roof over their head. Now what you gonna do?
addition to that, what we're also seeing is young people being influenced by older adults. They're committing crimes for older adults. And so that
That's the oldest thing since the '60s. You know, in my city, that's what they did. And I'm gonna get some clips of that too, where dudes will say, "Hey, when I was that age, I was out here shooting people and doing the same thing they doing." You know, their parents didn't know what they was doing, but that's the older people let them do it, so they don't get the
that is
time.
another issue. We are also seeing
When I say older, I ain't talking about no grown man. I'm talking about people about 4 or 5 years older than them. So if he 15, 18 or 19-year old who don't want to go to jail no more, putting him up to it, get your rep up, get your strength, your rep up, see if you bout it and all that other rap music we listen to. That's what they doing. And they say, well, it ain't the music, it's fueling it.
gang violence and gang violence amongst young people. So there are a lot of issues going on, but I think at the core of it are young people who don't have a direction, who need guidance, who need supervision, who need to have hope that their lives mean something, that they
I agree with that, that you gotta have guides. I had guides to a certain extent. But once you get a certain age, you want to do what you want to do. When you like 15, you think you ready to be an adult, but you don't know what all comes with paying the bills, keeping the lights on, all that. Cause you at home, they the ones doing all that. You know, you don't know how to manage no money. You don't know all that stuff. You don't haven't had no practice at it. You don't get practice out there till you get out there in the real world on your own. And then the older you get, you sometimes you think back and be like, man, I should have listened to somebody.
are worth the investment in themselves. And oftentimes, unfortunately, children don't quite understand that. And it leads to
That's what I'm saying. They don't understand that. But it's a limit, you can't kill nobody kid and we let you out or do some real harm to somebody and we let you out. I mean it can't be, you know. They got plenty of juvenile schools, reformatories, they got plenty of things for juveniles. But some kids gonna be hard headed. Some learn the hard way, some learn the easy way.
these tragic and terrible incidents that occur in our county.
You talked about truancy, and it stuck to me. What stuck out to me is that no one there could say whether Caden Holland was even enrolled in school. So there are some questions about what's happening.
She been truant before. She looked like she been truant. But I think both of them been truant before. They ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say they was habitual truants, but everybody been to the ditch party when they was teenagers.
In that part of his life. But we also heard a lot of talk today about changes to the law that have made it harder to hold children
Yes.
accountable in these kinds of cases, and whether these kinds of protections for young people have gone too far. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you that the juvenile interrogation law that was passed by the Maryland legislature, I think had good intentions, but the results have been
My friend, Apologize.
that young people are less willing to provide critical information to solve crimes that occur here in not only in Prince George's County but throughout the state of Maryland. I can tell you that my colleagues feel the same, that that law has really been a problem for us and of course law enforcement officers in investigating crimes that are occurring. In addition to that, there are limitations on the types of charges that can be filed based on the age of the child, right? In addition to that, the courts are
This guy is 15. Mostly the ones that's doing this gonna be teenagers. You might find some under the teens, but most of them gonna be teenagers. Ones under 10, and all that, they can be reformed, but they gotta be around somewhere, the right people all the time.
limited in the sentences that they can give for certain types of offenses, like misdemeanor offenses. And let me tell you what a misdemeanor offense includes: gun charges. So if a child is charged with having a gun, the court is limited in terms of how much time they can sentence him, whether on probation or confinement. And so there are a lot of limitations that unfortunately have resulted in some of the problems that we're seeing. So I am looking forward to working with the legislature. I know that Senator Joanne Benson has reached out to me, and several other legislators are interested in knowing how do we address this issue from a legislative perspective. And you know what? We have some ideas. We have some really good ideas, and I'm looking forward to sharing those ideas with our legislators in hopes that we can have a more
Why she don't share at least one idea right now so we can hear it? So the public can hear it.
robust juvenile code that not only holds children accountable, but what I'm being asked in the community is, how do we hold parents accountable? Well, right now, I really don't have the authority to hold them criminally accountable for most of what their children do. There are certain things that we can address, like truancy. We can also charge parents if they leave firearms, out where a child has access. We can charge parents who give alcohol or drugs to minors. But a lot of that is not what we're seeing in the streets. We're seeing kids.
The kids ain't getting most of that stuff from their parents. They getting it from the street. The drugs, the guns, all that stuff, they getting it from the street. They learning that from the street. They're not when the kid turn towards the teenagers, some people parents look at that kid like they still that baby, but you don't know what that kid doing.
Kids with illegal firearms. We're seeing kids with other kids making decisions to carjack. We see them being a part of gangs and groups that are deciding to commit crimes in our community. And so there is not the mechanism right now in the law for us to then charge the parent criminally for their children, for their children's choices.
So
And so
clearly,
we really do.
That's what I was been saying. Once they hit that street, that's why it's good. That's why a lot of parents, what they do, keep your kid in the house, keep them in activities, know where they at, know they in our time, know who their parents is, who house they going to, what they doing. Keep an eye on them, check up on them. You got a cell phone, call them a couple times a day. I think every kid out here got a cell phone. I seen 5-year-olds with cell phones.
Do need to look at the law.
yeah, clearly something has to change. State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy from Prince George's County, I wish we had more time to talk about solutions, but I'll hold you.
See, something got to change to a certain extent. But me being the age I am, I might live 20 more years. It's for those young people to realize that's the environment they creating for their future. If they go to jail or don't go to jail, that's what they create. And it might be worse for them.
You to coming back another time when we can talk a bit more about that. Thank you so much.
I look forward to it. Thank you. Thank you.